They laughed when she walked in, but the laughter didn't last long. The courtroom buzzed with low murmurs as Naomi Carter stepped past the bar. Her binder, worn, overstated, and taped at the spine, was clutched to her chest like a shield. No heels. No lawyer. Just an afro, a spine of steel, and a name they weren't ready to remember. Carter versus Ellison. Civil dispute. Plaintiff is self-represented, the clerk announced. Thomas Keene, defense counsel, leaned toward his intern with a chuckle. 10 minutes tops before she cracks. Watch. He didn't whisper. Judge Harriet Monroe adjusted her glasses and surveyed Naomi. Miss Carter, are you representing yourself today? Yes, Your Honor. Clear. Come. Unshaken. Across the aisle sat Douglas Ellison, landlord, manipulator, professional evictor. His smugness reeked of confidence, sure he'd already won. Mold ignored. Repairs denied. Complaints punished. Keene began with his well-polished monologue. The plaintiff, he said with a smirk, is disruptive, uncooperative, and inexperienced. There's no pattern of negligence. Just one unsatisfied tenant. Naomi stood when it was her turn. Her voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. My name is Naomi Carter. I paid rent on time for 4 years. I filed every complaint properly. I moved out at 2 a.m. because black mold poured from my ceiling. No one blinked. I brought photos, timestamps, voicemails, city code violations. And I have testimony. 2 former tenants. One is here, sitting quietly in the back. Gasps rippled like wind. Keene shifted in his seat. Naomi continued. I'm not here to argue emotions. I'm here because Douglas Ellison thinks tenants like me can be bullied into silence. I'm here because truth isn't about how expensive your suit is. It's about who dares to say what no one else will. The judge said nothing. But she didn't stop her. Maya Johnson testified first, hands clenched and voice trembling. He called me dramatic when I said my heat was out for weeks. Naomi helped me report it. After that, I got a non-renewal letter. Then came Victor Alvarez, holding up photos of cracked ceilings, water damage, and unanswered emails. He told me, you complained too much. Next thing I knew, my lease was gone. Keene objected. Anecdotal. Irrelevant. The judge overruled. Barely. During recess, Naomi stood by the window, watching shadows stretch across the courthouse lawn. A clerk approached. You're doing something no one expected. I'm not here to surprise them, Naomi said. I'm here to be seen. That's harder. Afternoon session. Ellison took the stand with a smirk. I don't discriminate, he declared. I handle things by the book. If there were issues, they weren't brought to my attention. Naomi stepped forward. Mr. Ellison, do you remember knocking on my door at 2:14 a.m.? No. I have the audio. Objection. Overruled. She read from the transcript. Girls like you think you're smart. But smart don't pay the rent. Ellison went pale. That was taken out of context. Explain the context, Naomi said. He couldn't. That night Naomi barely slept. Her closing argument repeated in her head like a drumbeat. The next morning she entered the courtroom with no makeup, no filter, no fear. Miss Carter, Judge Monroe said. Closing statement. Naomi exhaled. This isn't about a leaky roof or a broken heater. It's about what happens when someone like me speaks up. Mr. Ellison doesn't forget complaints. He remembers who makes them. He remembers their names, their tone, their skin. She walked slowly across the courtroom. I followed every rule. Every form, every call, every quiet moment. I was told to wait. And the moment I used my voice, I got the notice. Leave. I don't wear the right clothes. I don't have the right degree. But I'm here. And if I am invisible to this system, then every tenant like me is already gone before they arrive. This court may look neutral, but neutrality favors the powerful and punishes the loud. Justice can't just sit silent. It has to listen. And it has to act. Silence. Heavy. Charge. Judge Monroe tapped her pen twice, then looked up. We'll reconvene tomorrow for the verdict. The next day, after jury deliberation, the foreman stood. Yes, Your Honor. In the matter of Carter versus Ellison, we find in favor of the plaintiff, Miss Naomi Carter. Gasp. A quiet yes from the gallery. Naomi blinked once, her chest rising and falling. She wouldn't cry. Judge Monroe continued. A review of Ellison's tenant practices, referral to the city's Housing Oversight Board, and implicit bias training for civil litigation. Then she turned to Naomi. Miss Carter, you may not have a degree, but your grasp of justice is profound. Keene slumped. Ellison stormed out. The gavel dropped like thunder. 2 weeks later, Naomi couldn't walk down her block without strangers thanking her. She never sought to be a symbol, only fairness. One Thursday she walked into the old rec center on Oak Street. Mr. Bennett, the director, met her. "You sure you want to do this here?" "I'm sure," Naomi said. They turned the old art room into a tenant resource center. A desk, a printer, a few chairs, and someone who knew how to listen. By the end of the month, flyers went up. "Need help with your lease? Housing problems? Know your rights. We've got time." People came. First a single mom, an elderly veteran, and a college student. Naomi listened, printed documents, taught them how to file complaints, and how to speak without apologizing. By week 3 they needed more chairs. Judge Monroe even began citing Naomi's case in training sessions, calling it a mirror for overdue reform. When Naomi's mother, Elaine Carter, stopped by with cornbread, she smiled. "You made a place. Trying to build what we never had," Naomi said. Elaine laughed. "I remember when you were 9, you stood up to your principal when he said black hair was distracting. He called me, said you were mouthy. I told him, she ain't mouthy. She's louder than your lies." They laughed together. Soon, the housing board offered Naomi a grant if she formed a nonprofit. She filed the papers that night. 2 weeks later, grant approved. $25,000. By spring, the center had a name, Carter House. A plaque on the wall read, "Let the system know we're watching. We're learning. And we're not asking anymore." And Naomi Carter, steady as stone, never asked for respect. She built it,